Sturridge, and England's second World Cup group match against Uruguay in Sao Paulo certainly feels like a knockout tie. With both sides losing their opening games, they know that victory will see their qualifying hopes for the second round back on track, whilst defeat would almost certainly see the side crashing out at the first stage. With me to discuss the game is IB Times sports reporter Tony Mogan and European football correspondent Eduardo Fernandez Abascal. Guys, this is a must-win game for both sides, surely.
Yeah, I think from the England perspective, they find themselves in a position that many of us expected them to be in. In tournaments gone by, we've sort of come accustomed to the idea of England's turning in turgid, very one-paced performances. But from Saturday, they emerged with two real positives to cling to. The performance in itself was a breath of fresh air. In that regard, it was something inventive, it was something new, it was something that people were really encouraged by despite the result. It was against a superior Italian side, so England losing that game, it was, as mentioned earlier, what we expected. But the nature of the performance and the confidence that carried with it, I think, has England better placed in terms of the mentality going into the second game. Whereas on the other hand, Uruguay find themselves in a very different frame of mind to what they originally expected.
Yeah, definitely. I think that England should be much more optimistic than Uruguay after what happened on Saturday, because of the performance and also because of the rivals. England played probably against the strongest team in the group. Actually, Italy has been so far one of the best teams that we have seen during the first week of the tournament, and England was okay. Actually, they have many chances to draw that game. Italy controlled the ball, but England had many chances on the counter-attack and also in set pieces. And Uruguay was completely the opposite. They played probably against the weakest team of the group, and they were awful. They have good individuals up front. They have defenders with good experience around Europe, like Godin or Lugano. But I don't think that they work well as a team. The midfielder was so poor, and I think England, after what happened on Saturday, are the main favourites to win tomorrow.
So England are the main favourites, but there's one player who could well come back to haunt them, and that is Luis Suarez. There's been concerns over his fitness, but he said he's going to be 100% fit to come back and face this England side. England themselves, despite a spirited performance, still raise debate over the position of Wayne Rooney and how he fits in the team. So tactically, how will England plan to nullify Uruguay, and how will they try to make the most out of their multiple attacking talents?
Yeah, I think we can expect a very different approach from England going into Thursday's game against Italy. They found themselves up against probably one of the best midfields in terms of retaining possession and dictating the pace of a game. Uruguay themselves now are devoid of that ability to get hold of the ball and manage a game in terms of its tempo. They are harder nut to crack in midfield than some other teams England may come up against, but in terms of retaining possession, England may find themselves with a bit of an in here to get their foot into the game in that position of the field and perhaps take on the game in their own terms. But that could come at their detriment. As we saw on Saturday, England's best operated on the counter-attack. That swift, incisive play was always on the counter. There was no real possession in midfield that led to it. It was swift movement, and I think we can all agree that's the best England's operated under that system. Whether they can still do that with more of the ball in midfield remains to be seen. So it will be interesting now to see how they line up. They may prefer to see Uruguay with more of the ball, but whether Hodgson believes that will be the best route to victory remains to be seen.
Yeah, there have been many talks about the problem that England have on the left side against Italy, because obviously Rooney is not a winger and he cannot defend like a proper winger. But I believe that if Hodgson introduces Lallana, you can solve these problems with just one change, because with Lallana you will bolster the midfield. He would defend a little bit more than Welbeck probably, and also Rooney can play in his favorite position behind the striker, behind Sturridge, rather than on the flank. It's true that Welbeck was amazing against Italy and he was important for their counter-attack, but sometimes you have to be more solid. And Lallana, I think, can do the Coutinho's job, and Rooney can do the Suarez job, and you have a very solid team if you do that. And against Italy, the problem was on the left, but also in the midfield, because It's true that Italy midfield is one of the best in this World Cup, but anyway, there were 4 Italian midfielders against just 2 English midfielders, against Gerrard and Henderson, and Pirlo play like walking and with a lot of freedom, and you cannot let to do that to Uruguay or to anyone, I think.
And on that Rooney note, Roy Hodgson's described it as an obsession, and it's been nothing short of that. It's been dominating England's agenda out in Brazil all week, to the point where it's gotten rather boring. Whether Hodgson sticks with the same setup, it still remains to be seen, but in terms of the personnel, I think he may do. In terms of where they start, I don't think it's the all definitive decision that needs to be placed before the match. The nature of this forward line is so versatile that it can be changed in the game to adjust how the game is unfolding. So I don't think the call for who's going to start the game is as big a one as people are making out at this point in time. When the game gets going, we'll have a better idea, and those changes can be made as and when, such as the ability of these players to adjust that quickly.
So you think the match here will be a victory for England?
I wouldn't go that far. The Suarez case is so important to this fixture. He's spoken with such assurance going into kick-off this week, and it's difficult to argue against him if he is that confident. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see what condition he is in.
Yeah, the Suarez thing is gonna be. We have seen this season at Liverpool that if one player can make the difference, can change a team, this is Luis Suarez. So let's see if he plays, and let's see if he's 100% fit to play. But anyway, I think England can win, and even if they draw, I think they have a good chance to go through, because theoretically they have to beat Costa Rica in the next game, and Uruguay has to play against Italy. So England have a big advantage with that. So even a draw can be enough for England to go through.
So if you had to say a result, what would you go for?
I'll go for the draw. I believe England will also be better placed for it, and while I don't think that will creep into their minds, I think that will be the case on the night.
A 2-1 for England, I think.